have to continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host this news.
And the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, my dear folks, lovely audience, and welcome back to the East-West Show, a show called Right or Wrong, or some even refers to it as the truth, nothing but the truth. Anyway, the show is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, Belgium Wolfers. A prominent life must be matched with the palace-grade jewelries. Wolfers, the Belgium royal family-designated brand of jewelries with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of the master craftsmen. A testimony to the spectacular share of the royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade artistic jewelries. All right, let's start the show. With me is my dear friend, Chris Nebe, an eminent director of Hollywood with a monument sky high, many films. That's a credit line. It was a long list. So back to the issue. We are talking about, is America stronger than before, versus the slogan made by President Donald Trump throughout his campaign. Even now he's still working on it to make America strong again. So is America stronger than before? So back to you. And like you said, that you disprove that slogan, disprove that as a fact. So I want you to continue, please.
Today, life in America has become a misery-drenched, demoralizing existence of injustice and inequality, especially for people of color.
Okay, go ahead.
The people have their freedoms turned upside down, democratic structures have flipped upside down, and the dreams of the American dreams is left in shambles for most of the Americans. Because before, there was always this American dream which was based in reality, and it could happen.
I'm so glad that you included this subject, or this part of the subject, in this script, right? Which means that I do have a strong take in that whole area, right? I believe that the color division, black and white color division, is getting ever stronger day by day.
Not only black, brown, anything non-white.
We use the black and white to define the color division.
Right.
Color division. So people, instead of loving each other, like we said earlier, all together as a nation, they start to look down upon each other, one another, and even discriminate one another. All right. I just I watched the film The Green Book last week. Did you?
Yes.
All right. So that tells, right? However, that tells only a story of the 60s. Right. Now, we are talking about another 60 years on top. Are we still doing the same thing?
Yes, nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
There have been laws, there has been affirmative action and this and that, but in the heart, in the soul, has nothing been changed, and very cleverly the white Americans are brainwashed into believing that the people of color are actually causing the downfall of America. It's very clever that it's used by the powers in America to divide and rule, and they're using this people of color issue in a very smart way.
Remember, it was probably last summer that you and I had a discussion on the film of Purge.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Purge was telling, okay, now put it this way. If GreenBook tells a story of 60 years ago,
Purge was talking
about in the future.
Right.
And then nowadays, for the present time,
the future has started.
I was seeing lately a short film called Skin. Did you see that?
No.
skin.
No.
It's a very, very vivid and a thorough, down to the point description. Right? It was in a supermarket when a black guy kind of having fun with a white guy's kid. The white guy goes back saying, "You are, doing wrong with my son. You got a problem." And the black guy says, "No, I don't have a problem. You're the one having a problem." Right? And then that's it. That's the end. That's the whole thing. That's the end of it. So the white guy followed the black guy to the parking and gave him a beat, well beaten with a bunch of white guys until this guy could not even move. Right?
Why? Only because he talked to a kid?
Only because he talked to his kid. Right? And several days later, when this guy, black guy, the poor black guy recovered, he kidnapped the white guy in revenge. And in the closed garage, they tattooed him, the whole skin black. Of course, it's an exaggeration, of course, right?
Very interesting.
Why they exaggerate that way? Because the whole thing is talking about color.
Right.
Okay, now, so when this guy was released, let out, he was dropped on the street, all right, of course, well beaten, walking to his own house. At the door, the wife did not recognize him because he was all of a sudden black guy. The kid, the very kid, in the very beginning of the film, it shows a little episode of shooting, on the shooting range. The kid is very good at shooting. The kid ran out, sneaked out from the window through the back, going back to the front door with a rifle.
And shot the black
guy. And then at the very moment, the mom screams, "Wow, it's you!" Bang! There goes a shot. And they killed his own dad. That's the end of the film called Skin.
Very interesting and very telling.
I was having goosebumps when I was watching the whole thing. It's a 21-minute short film. So
amazing.
I do agree with you that these color discrimination is still here. It is stronger and much stronger than before. If the Green Book talks about a story 60 years ago, and the Purge talks about 60 years later, and this Skin is what's happening right now. I agree. I do agree. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it goes on because the American dream is left in shambles. And also the whole police, for example, is militarized. You see, kids are being burned by bang grenades. Their pet dogs are shot. Their old folks hospitalized because of SWAT teams erroneously going to the wrong house. And innocent people of color shot down at random almost daily. I mean, the whole thing. And for example, do you know that within 100 miles of your borders of America, they are now considered constitution-free zones?
Which means?
There is no right there, no constitutional rights. They are constitutional free rights.
You're talking about a constitutional vacuum.
Yes.
Right? Constitution does not apply in that area, or call it a belt, or call it a zone.
Right, it's
something
unbelievable.
Like that.
The whole, and the whole thing is.
We must, brother, do me a favor.
Yeah.
We must separate ourselves in between the problems of policing, and the problems of immigration, border control.
Yeah, but
because border control does not include policing. Or to put it this way, because policing does not include border control.
You are right. But you see, the reason why you have refugees from Syria or from Iraq is because America attacked these countries.
That's exactly where the problem is.
The reason why you have Latino illegal immigration here is because in El Salvador, in Nicaragua and in Honduras, America replaced the socialist governments, which were very effective,
Of course, that
with right-wing
yeah,
governments.
That conversation
who serve
can
their
go
interests.
on. Yeah, that conversation can go on for the full whole day. Right?
So, you see,
let's
it is-
wrap up with this segment. My dear friend, today with me is my dear brother Chris Nebe, and an eminent director of Hollywood. And let's wrap it up. And this is the third segment of East-West Show, exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, a testimony to the spectacular, a share of the royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade artistic jewelry. We'll be right back.
Le bijou icône Philippe Wolfers qui date de 1902. Il faut la regarder contre la lumière pour avoir toutes les couleurs de ce bijou qui est extraordinaire. Avec les opales, c'est un thème très à la mode, à la période Art Nouveau. On voit en argenterie, mais aussi en peinture. Et ça a à voir aussi quelque chose un peu symbolique. Une libellule, c'est très belle quand on la voit de loin, mais quand on l'approche, c'est comme un dragon en anglais. On dit un dragonfly.
C'est une des grandes figures de l'Art Nouveau. Et cette pièce, mieux que n'importe quelle autre, témoigne de sa virtuosité. L'opulence, le raffinement, les courbes et les couleurs, et puis le thème aussi, qui raconte une époque. Libellule a été réinterprétée, plus légère, mais c'est bien à son aïeul qu'elle fait référence, une pièce désormais accessible à tous, puisqu'elle est passée de la boutique au musée.
We have to continue to work on it now. My name is Paul James. I host English News every morning.
And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience. Welcome back to the East-West Show, the right or wrong show, the truth, nothing but the truth show, exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. A prominent life must be matched with the palace-grade jewelries. Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelries with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of the master craftsmen, a testimony to spectacular, a share of the royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade artistic jewelry. Now that starts the show. With me today is my friend, Chris Nebe. Mr. Chris Nebe is the director, eminent director of Hollywood Circle. Eminent is the word to you, anyway.
Thank you for the accolade, sir. I appreciate it.
Good. With a
Let's be
credit,
more modest.
With a credit so high like a monument.
Face reality.
Very
Okay.
good, okay. Reality is that we're not being represented. Reality is that we are discussing now, is America stronger than before? So back to you.
You see, we the people have been successfully brainwashed into believing that we live in a democracy and our voices count and our votes count and our elected officials are looking out for our best interest. The truth is we live in an oligarchy. Corrupt politicians represent only the profit motives of the corporate state, special interest groups, and oligarchs. That's a fact.
Stop right there, please.
Yes.
All right. Because I want to do you a favor. I want to do myself a favor. I want to do my audience a favor. Okay, now, I do agree. Okay, now, I used to believe what you read, right? We thought we are being represented. We thought that we're the one holding the votes, right? When we cast a vote, we cast in a direction that we wanted. We want you out, you're out. We want you in, you're in. That's how we vote. That's why we vote. I used to believe that. I was a strong believer of that until last November, right? Proposition 7. Do you still recall Proposition 7?
No.
Okay. Now, the previous November, the year 2017, we had a gas tax imposed on us, for which we're paying around, I don't remember the exact number, 63 cents per gallon of gas tax, right? For that, people motivated a signature campaign. The signature campaign got proven. Okay, you're right. You guys' opinions are accepted. The signature campaign got far more than needed signatures to overturn it. All right? As a process of overturning, though, they put this issue on the November ballot. In the November ballot, this is named Proposition 7. In other words, to overturn the gas tax, right? You should go like, say, do you agree to overturn the gas tax? Yes means go overturn it. No means no. Let's keep it, right? Instead, right? Instead, in addition, instead of representing us, the signature campaign represents with a vast majority saying, yes, go overturn it. The description of Proposition 7 says, right, Proposition 7 would cut off the money needed for road repair. Do you agree to cut it off? As a result, those signators who signed their name in the campaign of overturning all signed, no, we don't agree. You see the point?
Yes.
See the point? So, as a result, democracy was being played like a toy.
Manipulated perfectly.
Now, being played like a toy is a more vivid description.
Correct.
We are cheated, we are raped.
Yes.
We're spiritually raped by those guys who said that they represent us.
And they got themselves an increase in their monthly salary for sure.
All right, whatsoever. Anyway, Proposition 7 was 6. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
Proposition 6.
But the gas proposition is exactly a perfect example of what I'm talking about.
You know who the guy is?
No.
District Attorney Office is the office in charge of text, of description of each bill.
Of course.
Why would they, in the first place, change the description from the overturn of gas tax
to road
repair? To road repair?
Yeah.
So that tells. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah.
I'm proud that I can back you up this strongly. Go ahead, use that as a good example.
You see, that's a perfect example. And we the people have been silent, censored, and forced to conform, shut up in free speech zones, gagged by hate crime laws, stifled by political correction.
No. You don't need to say shut up, right? Because take myself, for example, I shut myself up after seeing Proposition 6.
Okay. Yeah.
I learned the lesson, say, hey, what difference would I make if I do not shut up?
That's it. So you see, and more people just don't go to vote anymore.
They learn.
Yeah, but they learn in a bad way.
Yeah, they learn, right?
This is not forward-looking, positive democracy, creative democracy.
Negativity is thus created.
That's it.
Followed by more.
Right.
When more has seen the reality, they follow.
Right.
And it goes on and on.
Correct.
In the cycle.
And you can see it now. For example, you have these two controversial ladies, Ilhan Omar in Washington and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And these ladies are saying blatant truths, and now they're being smeared and dragged through the mud with every possible way by the media. But
That's a different take. That's a different
no,
issue.
No, but that is no. But this is, for example, a perfect sign that even politicians who dare to speak up are being ridiculed, silenced, and otherwise shut up.
Well,
You
anyway,
see?
our belief under this constitution is that I will fight for you for your right to speak up freely, even though I do not agree with you.
Yes.
Right? So that is a part missing.
Yeah, but
That
this
is a
is
part
changing
missing.
too.
As
Pretty
she's
soon-
right or wrong, as she or they are right or wrong, I'm not commenting now. At least we do another show. But right now we're talking about you are not shutting people down because you don't want to listen. You listen. You say, "Hey, you're okay. You have a right to speak up freely. I do not agree." That's it.
That's it. But
All
you
right.
see, for example, the same thing happened with the road tax, with the gasoline tax turned into a road problem. The same thing is the Patriot Act.
Exactly.
Because the Patriot Act, in the Patriot Act, we the people are being told that national security is more important than civil liberties.
You know, I give you what? I give you pizza for a metaphor. How about that?
Yeah?
You can stretch it.
Yeah.
You can roll it.
Yeah.
You can redo it.
Yeah.
You can do anything. You can do anything with it.
Yeah, and it
Right.
makes you fat.
Yes, sure. All right. Okay, my dear friends, that concludes the whole show for today. The East West show solely exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. Wolfers, a testimony to the spectacular, a share of the royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade artistic jewelry.
Everything expected, straight. It's like it seems wrong way.
My name is Paul James. I host English News. And a golden angel award ceremony.
Hello, dear friends, my lovely audience. Welcome to the East West Show, or call it the right or wrong, or some folks even call it the truth, nothing but the truth. Welcome to the show, anyhow. This show is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. A permanent life must be matched with the palace-grade jewelries. Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelries with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of the master craftsman, a testimony to the spectacular and a share of the royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade artistic jewelry. So, welcome to the show. All right, the subject today is America stronger than before? With me is my dear friend, Mr. Chris Nebe, the eminent director of Hollywood, Mr. Chris Nebe. So, welcome to the show.
谢谢你老朋友，早上好。
Thank you. You made it my
祝你
day.
好运。
You made it my day by coming.
Thank you.
All right, good. And I see that you are well prepared. So am I believe. Trust me, even though I do not have a script in front of me, I am prepared for the subject. Is America stronger than before? We all recall that several years ago when Mr. Donald Trump, our president, was in the campaign, his first slogan ever, which lasted till today, is that he is going to make America strong again. So now, with the years passed, is America strong? Or is America stronger than before? So in the retrospect, we would like to find out step by step. So now we want to start, right? What's your take? Is America stronger than before? Please.
Once upon a time, the United States of America represented freedom and hope. And yes, they were strong.
Mm-hmm.
Today, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Because the best symbolized by the United World Heritage Site, the Statue of Liberty,
Mm-hmm.
that since 1886 guarded the New York harbor, welcoming millions of immigrants from all over the world with this universal statement of freedom and democracy. And I like to read the statement because it really is very important and symbolizes what America stood for.
I recall that. That was 1885 when we put up the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And the poem was on the basement of the
It's still there, yes.
Statue, right? Still there.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And it says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless, tempest-torn, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door."
All right.
What happened to this noble spirit of America?
Okay, let's hang on a little bit here in this area, though. I would like, I like this poem very much. I can recite the whole thing, written by Emma Lazarus, right? And it's a very touchy poem. Line by line, it describes or engraves or carves the American spirit right into the metal. That's my take, right? Okay, now, and I have that said though, I would like to lay down some prerequisites. Okay, now, number one, time has changed. So national policies have to change or have to follow up. This is number one. And number two, we're not totally turning down the spirit. We're talking about we want to reform it. We want to put up some regulations. We want to see some document. So does that make it in contradiction to the Statue of Liberty?
No.
To your take?
You see, the country needs a renaissance of morality and a revival of the spirit of what this poem at the feet of the Statue of Liberty says. That's what we need. And therefore, we have to recreate the noble spirit of America, which is represented by this poem and has been the guiding light since 1886.
That I agree. And it is a moral issue also that we forgot to mention. It is quite a moral issue. People now hate each other rather than loving each other, right? We see around us people more hate rather than love, people aiding other people's. Those are getting rare and rare the cases. So that is a fact. Go ahead with the statue issue, please.
Yeah, you see, the American media constantly claims that America is great. There is no evidence to support that claim anymore. I will give you some facts.
Okay.
In the world, America ranks seventh in literacy. 22nd in science.
1 second. When you say the 7th in literacy,
Yeah.
what do you by the by? Either evidences or
Yes,
or statistics?
these are international statistics which rank America 7th in literacy
Provided by who?
by various polls and statements. It's out there. You can read it any way you are checking.
I see.
So
All right. Okay.
22nd in science, which is very interesting.
22nd in science. I thought we're leading the
Yeah,
world of
but you're not.
science.
49th in life expectancy. 49th in life expectancy.
That we may discuss.
178th in infant mortality, which is pretty.
You must be including abortion.
No. Third in median household income.
That I agree.
Fourth in labor force, as well as fourth in exports.
Well, all right.
But I will tell you what
interesting numbers. All right,
but
interesting
I will
numbers.
Tell you in what America leads, and that is pretty ironic.
Interesting
America
numbers, but
only leads the world in 3 categories. Incarcerated citizens in privatized prisons exploited as cheap labor by mega corporations. Billions of taxpayer dollars wasted in massive defense spending.
okay, that I agree.
Last but not least, and this is quite amusing, in the number of adults who really believe in angels.
You what? Angels.
In angels. They believe that there are angels flying around in the world.
What's wrong with that? We are the Angelinos. We're in the city of angels. We do believe our
I
angels.
haven't seen any angels around.
We don't have to see. It's a spiritual thing. It's a confidence in yourself. That I do not agree. Go ahead. Is there anything else?
No, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, now let me come back to some of the statistics, right? You mentioned about the infant death
Infant mortality.
infant mortality statistics.
That's pretty low, actually.
181.
Yeah.
You mentioned, right?
In 178th position.
178
so that's pretty low,
position.
because if it would be on 3rd or 4th or 5th, it would be high. It's low.
Among we're somewhere of 200 nations.
Yes.
And that I really have to look into it, because the number seems to be too low to me, that I doubt. And what else categories do you have to back yourself
There
that
was
America
literacy, seventh position in the world in literacy.
All right, exactly what I want to say. Literacy is a soft core stuff, right? How do you grade or score a nation so precise to the seventh position? Are you talking about Nobel Prizes?
No, literacy, because it's a fact that since in America the school system is based on property income of the community, the communities which have low property income tax
I understand.
have very bad schools, as you can witness in the predominantly African American communities, or as you also call it, the people of color communities.
I understand now. You are including education.
Education, yeah.
You're including education, not only talking about literary works.
No.
Right?
Education. Literacy means illiterate. Illiterate means you cannot read or write. And literacy means you have a high literacy or a low literacy. And America ranks 7th in worldwide literacy.
All right, anyway, those are your numbers
Yes.
that we may later find out right or wrong. And
You
it
can
is
check them
always
out.
it is always a good point to ask.
Of course.
It is always a good philosophy to doubt, right?
Correct.
To doubt, to put out your questions. My dear audience, today with me is my dear friend, Mr. Chris Nebe, and an eminent director of the Hollywood Circle, who stick to with me with the show for so many years that we are kind of brothers, right? So that concludes the first segment of the East-West show, exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. Wolfers, a testimony of the spectacular and a share of the royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade artistic jewelry. We will be back right away.
My name is Paul James. I host English News here in
and the Golden Angel Award ceremony.
Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the East-West show, exclusively sponsored by Wolfers. A prominent life must be matched with the palace-grade jewelries. Wolfers, the Belgian royal family designated brand of jewelries with 400 years of glorious history and hand-forged by 10 generations of the master craftsman, a testimony to the spectacular, a share of the royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade artistic jewelry. All right, start with the show. With me today is my dear friend, Mr. Chris Nebe of Hollywood, an eminent director in the whole area of film production. He himself has a credit, a monument of 21 films altogether. Am I right?
The 20 films of the mysterious China series.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Only. And on top of that, you have something before and after.
Yes.
Very good. Okay, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
The subject for today is America stronger than before? We go back in time when Donald Trump, our president, was in the campaign. His slogan, his first slogan ever, and the slogan only, which lasts till today, is that he is going to make America strong. Question is America stronger again, strong again, or is America stronger than before? So with me, my friend Chris Nebe will give his take. Right. So now back to you. So what else do you have to back you that you believe that America is no longer representing liberty and freedom?
The military-industrial complex in America spends more than the next 26 nations combined.
When you say 26, you're talking about the allies.
Allies combined. Yeah. 25 of them are allies of the United States, with over 1,000 military installations around the world, serving U.S. global military aggression.
I want to give you a little insert.
Yeah.
That I used to think the number of 800 of military settlement all over the world was the correct number until I met with Mr. Jiu Shamas, a former commander of U.S. Navy.
Yes.
Right. His number was exactly 1,000 and over.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
that's it. So I'm glad that he confirms
Yeah.
my research.
Yeah. So 1,000 is not a shaky number. It is a.
It's unbelievable if you think about it. So you know, it's interesting because America used to be great. It stood up for what was right. The government passed laws, but it also had the courage to struck them down for moral reasons. With other words, they were flexible. You know, what today was right may have proven to be wrong tomorrow, and the government was doing that. So Americans waged war on poverty, not on poor people. That's a big difference.
Okay, let's meander here a little bit.
Yes.
Right. There are two issues. Number one, over the world, do we not need that many military establishment?
We don't need none.
Military base.
We
right?
need none.
Right. None is not a conclusion. We need exactly how many, and that's one issue.
As far as I'm concerned, we need none.
And the second issue, don't mix it with the first one, is that who do we represent? The poor people? Do we fight for the poor people, or do we wage wars on poor people?
We are waging war on poor people.
Example?
What do you call about, let's face, what is racial profiling?
No.
Racial profiling usually deals with with poor people, and they're not white.
Let's stay ourselves on the international front, right? Internationally, when you talk about defense, though, you versus this whole thing to the 1,000 and plus of military base.
Oh, you're still with that? Okay.
Yeah, I'm still with that.
But I can tell you, the whole invasion of Iraq was wrong because Saddam Hussein did not have the weapons of mass destruction which the then Bush claimed they had. That was a pure thing to go to war. And what happened? It destroyed the whole
I would like
Middle
to
East.
make it clear to you that every time when I raise questions, it doesn't mean that I disagree. Right? It means that I want you to put up some evidences to back yourself up.
And that is the evidence.
Right, good. And I do agree with him. I do agree to the fact that ever since the starting of the Iraq War, that was 2003, and I believe I started writing essays going against the war as latter part of 2003. I have written at least 20, no less than 20 of the essays going against the war. I believe the war was totally groundless, was totally a war of nothing.
No, it was a war by those who ruled the country, namely, it was a war for profit. They wanted to get the oil
I
of
do
Iraq.
agree with that, all right? And there is one essay that I wrote. Of course, I did not create myself. I wrote the essay after collecting all the sources of information. I asked, do you know why we do the war, right? And if we do not get the answer, we follow the money. Once we follow the money, we get the answer to the question. The war was contracted. Contract with whom? With Halliburton. And who
not
is
only
it?
Halliburton, but many others.
Halliburton was one of the major contractors. How about that?
One of the major profiteers of the whole thing.
And who is the bigger shareholder, the biggest shareholder of Halliburton? You know who that was?
Cheney, I think.
Dick Cheney.
Yeah, Dick Cheney. Yeah.
Dick Cheney was, right? Dick Cheney still is.
Yes,
So that tells you why we did the war. We did.
Yeah.
Right, good. I agree with you. Go ahead, please.
So you see, and when I said Americans waged war on poverty, they tried, at one time, America's powerful strength was middle class, a solid middle class. The middle class in America has been,
So you're done with the international front.
Yes.
Versus the defense, right?
Yes.
So you're jumping to
No, I'm
domestic.
going to various points where America had
all
a
right.
noble spirit. And the middle class has been destroyed, and at latest, since 2008, the lower middle class is totally destroyed because people lost their home, millions of people lost their homes, which is in America a sort of a stabilizing factor. And in general, the middle class is suffering today and is still suffering. Just now I heard on the radio that in Ohio they closed, General Motors closed a factory which will cost 8,000 people a job. So where do they go?
Okay, now, I want to give you another support that I have here to indicate that we are not being represented as the middle class by the policies and everything, especially in the real estate market. I have a friend who several years ago, like say 30 years ago, bought a house in Monterey Park for $250,000, a huge house, right? Almost like a mansion. She now sold the house for $2.5 million. For $2.5 million. In other words, within the 30 years, the house price has gone up by 10%. By 10 times.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? 100%. No, 100%. 1,000%. Because you're talking about percent. Yeah. So it's 10 times from 250 to 2.5 million. Now, question. During the 30 years, are you making 10 times the salaries of 10 years ago?
No, but you see, there's also one thing. You say she bought the house for $250. At that time, $250 was a lot of money. The value, it's also the decreasing value of the currency, because actually it's not the 2.5 million are not the 2.5 million which the value was 30 years ago. So the higher prices actually reflect also a downgoing or lesser value of the dollar.
Yeah, sure. That does make sense. What makes more sense is that you count the value dollar to dollar.
Okay.
Dollar to dollar. I give you an example. Office lady, for example, a receptionist, 30 years ago makes about $1,800 to $2,000 per month, something like that. And now they still at the same level.
Yeah.
They are still making the same amount of money.
Right.
Where you're not talking about 10 times, you're not talking about 5 times, you're not even talking about double times. So now, for them to face whoever, the 2.5 million level, though, is unfair. That's why I say we are not being represented by the status quo.
No.
All right?
You're not.
Okay, very good. My dear friends, my lovely audience, the subject for today is America Stronger versus the slogan made by Donald Trump, our president, that he was or he is still making America strong again. So joining me is my friend, Mr. Chris Nebe of Hollywood, an eminent director of Hollywood. This show is exclusively sponsored by Wolfers, a testimony of the spectacular, a share of the royal glory. Wolfers, the palace-grade jewelries.